It's your boy, Flavor Flav, and this is Criss Angel's Talking Junkies.
Hey, this is Criss Angel, and welcome to another episode of Talking Junkies. I'm joined by the cast of Talking Junkies, none other than two-time UFC heavyweight champion. We're talking about Mr. Frank Mir.
What up, Frank?
A man that needs no introduction in the world of tattoos because he is the GOAT. He is the man to see when you want some ink done. He's done all of my ink. He owns Starlight Tattoos, an amazing country artist as well. Give it up for Mario Barth.
Yeah.
And a man that has been playing Las Vegas with the funniest comedy magic show, 11 years. He's our dear friend. We play with him a lot. Give it up for Mr. Hammer.
What's up?
All right, we'll give you some applause today.
There we go. Today
I'm
we got
happy.
applause.
I'm really happy. Today's a very special day because we have a gentleman that is multi-talented. That's an understatement. This dude won 4 Grammy Awards. I'm talking, 15 ACM Awards and total awards, 110. He is none other than the great, multi-talented Keith Urban!
Yeah!
Woo!
What's up?
There he is.
Keith!
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Keith, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. How awesome. Was that fake applause, Chris?
No, that's his fans. I saw him.
Fake fans.
Oh, I saw him over at Planet Hollywood, in that massive theater that they have. Not my theater. My theater is a smaller one. He plays to 6,000, 7,000 people a night. And his show was, I couldn't believe it. Keith, you're playing drums, you're singing, your guitar. Like, what don't you do, man?
My dad played drums.
Really?
Yeah, he was in a cover band in the 50s, and I always loved drums and guitar and piano, all of it, yeah.
You know what was great about your show? Besides you just being like totally wanting to be there. Like you see shows, and I won't mention who they are, but they're just like checking in. They're checking in, checking out. They don't really want to be there, but like you authentically wanted to be there. Like you could see that you really enjoyed performing.
Yeah.
And what I loved, one of my favorite parts of the show was you did this whole rhythmic thing with the microphone, I think it was your guitar and the mic stand.
Right.
And I've never seen anything like that. Did you come up with that, or did you see somebody that inspired you to do that?
It's I think like all of us, we glean things from people, and then we kind of elaborate on it, make it our own. It's a bit of a mix of being a rhythmic guy anyway, and there's an amazing guitar player called Tommy Emmanuel who does similar kind of stuff, and he's obviously taken it from somewhere. So we've all made that kind of thing our own.
Yeah, and the show is great because, like, you dragged your own drum set out. Like, you didn't have it, like, come out automation or people. Like, you dragged it out. Your audience. You know yourself. And I was just blown away by your charisma. And I'm not just saying this because you're here and I'm hyping you up, but I really sincerely was excited to talk to you because as a performer, I'm always trying to see things that inspire me.
Yeah, me too.
And sometimes you're disappointed in what you see.
Yeah.
But you really did inspire me because you made me think of things differently. Like, how do you look at an instrument? People have a guitar or a microphone and they're singing or talking or playing the guitar. They're not thinking about it in ways that you have to entertain the audience and to be like really the ultimate showman. Right. And that's really what I got out of your show. Everybody wanted to be there. The band was awesome. The sound, whoever your mixer is insane. Like, I'm sure he's getting a shitload of money to be your mixer, but just incredible. The show was fantastic.
Thank you.
It was just such a great time. Now you're going to be going on tour.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're always on tour. It's been nice to be in Vegas.
So it's like a residency. You have
Yeah.
like one place, but still, this is not home for you.
No, it's not home, but I mean, someone was talking about you're going to be playing on the same stage every night, doing a similar kind of show, and I'm like, that's what a tour is.
100%.
You're right. I mean, you may be in a different city, in a different town, but that's the kind of that you played on that stage last night. It's just in a different city, and So for me, it's been actually I've loved every second of it playing here. I really have.
You change up the set a lot, or you
I make quarterback calls more than anything. But like sound check almost every day. I'll make little tweaks. We'll get rid of a song, maybe move it somewhere else, shorten it, lengthen this one.
Right.
Just based on the vibe from the night before. But you know this, every audience is different every night, and one Friday night is different to the next Friday night.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question that you probably won't want to answer, but do you believe that there's a bad audience? Because for me, I do believe that. I believe that the energy, like you have to read the audience, and sometimes I come out on stage and they're standing up going crazy, and I'll do the same stuff the next night, and the audience is more chill. You know, they're not very engaged or as engaged or responsive.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the night of the week, what time the show is. But do you believe that there's maybe a better audience or a worse audience depending upon those, different circumstances?
For sure. I mean, audiences are affected by everything. Right now, F1's created challenges.
I'm not doing shows this week. You are. Right? You're insane, dude.
To get around town is
it's insane.
Challenging for the audience. Yeah. So, and then anything that's going on in the news cycle or anything's going on societally, emotionally, sort of topically, the weather, there's a million things economically. There's so many things that give an audience a vibe before they get there. So to your point, I think to a large degree, yes, audiences can have a vibe, which can be really challenging on certain nights. What I'm trying to learn more about is it's usually that audience is not connecting with what it is I'm doing, I'm wanting to do right now. They're not giving me back the thing that I need to do this. And so I've really only got two options, which is just do it anyway.
Stay on point.
Do it anyway.
Right.
Or tweak it a little bit and go, well, maybe this is not, what do they want? Maybe they want you to talk to them for a second, get to know them a little bit. Stop yelling, stop doing the big thing. Or maybe it's too low and they want to get going more. So I think it's just trying to read what is it that they're responding to, not responding to, and just navigating that a little bit.
Mario and I, because we came to see the show together, he's a country artist, but a huge fan of yours and country music. And we were talking about like the energy, and the energy was just, no one was sitting down. Like it was really like because you fed off the energy of the audience, but it was like a give and take. And then when you came into the audience, people lost their mind. It was just incredible. Did you put that show together yourself? Like, were you involved in the lighting? Were you involved in all the different aspects of putting the production together? Or did you have like people that came to you and were like, here it is? Or were you like, because you seem like the type of guy more like me where you're involved in all those decision-making things that are going to affect the audience's experience? Yeah,
I bet we're pretty similar in that we've got a vision of what we want to do, but bringing in people who are experts in those areas, or really skilled in those areas, like I am in mine. I got a skill set that's my skill set. I don't have that skill set.
Right.
I have an idea of what I want to do visually, sonically, pace, emotionally, everything I want to create. But I'd rather bring in people that hear the idea and go, I know what you're trying to do. Let me make that better. That's 100%. Really what it is.
Well, that's smart. And I know you have a question for Keith. Right, you have some things that are going. You all probably do, and I'm hogging him up. So let's.
I think Mario's trying to sell him his book. Mario's got this book he's trying to sell to Keith.
I have to sell one copy.
Mario, pick up your book there and show you.
Hammer, why are you in the big seat? Why are you?
Because he's the smallest guy.
Why am I in the big?
He has a small penis.
My feet don't even touch the
That's what Frank told me.
Do you think he's compensating for something?
Don't make me come past these ropes, gentlemen.
They actually called him, right? They used to call you Houdini, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. He tells the joke every Houdini podcast. Because of a little weenie. Is that your joke?
I wasn't going to say that, but I'm glad that you admitted it in front of a legend right over here.
I'm just trying to help Mario out. The tattoo business is rough. Once people are covered, they can't. So he's trying to sell you this book, Keith.
Oh, geez, I'm not selling your book.
What is that?
So
he can write.
I just wanted to give you this afterwards.
Give you?
Because, wow, yes. I have to give it away because I can't sell it for crap. So it's like, that's the story on it. But it gives you a little story about me becoming a Zuluape in Samoa and also in Japan to get some. And it gives you a history of tattooing. I started 1978 to actually tattoo, And
I was getting a tattoo with you actually yesterday. This one right over here.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, that, country artists, by and large, didn't have ink. And then he noticed that Garth Brooks is sleeved.
Half-sleeved, yeah.
Half-sleeved, right? And then you, are you more influenced, or have you been influenced, I should say, by, rock and roll? Because you have an image that's definitely edgy for a country star.
I mean, I grew up playing in the clubs in Australia. Rough pubs, concrete
what part of
floors
Australia?
They hose the thing out at the end of the night.
Really?
Basically.
What part of Australia?
Brisbane.
Oh, right on.
So it's working class.
Yeah, I've been there.
Full on working class, and my parents were working class, so that's what I grew up in. Places where when you walk out on stage, people go, "What's this bullshit? Who's this wanker?"
Wanker.
And that's what you walk out to, every night, and you just gotta get them, and you gotta convert them, and you gotta get them loosened up, and going with it.
You were in the 80s, I think, in Australia. Which I have a love for Australia because my lady and our son were born there, Johnny Christopher. But you were on a talent TV show.
Yeah, a few of them.
Right? What was that? That was...
the first one I went on was called Pot of Gold, and I was 9 years old.
Wow.
I went on that.
So you wanted to make it since you were you could think.
I just loved playing guitar and singing. I started when I was 6, and luckily my mum and dad were really supportive. And, my mom would drive me around to any and every opportunity, whether it was a talent show somewhere or a TV talent thing, whatever, any opportunity,
So what would you say, because it's a series of small things that happen that allow you to, quote unquote, make it? Like for me, it took 18 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
I'm sure you share a similar story, but
Definitely.
What was the one thing, for me, it was obviously my Mind Freak television series on A&E. That really just put me in the place that I always dreamt about. And then it's about remaining the most relevant at your craft, which is obviously more challenging than getting there. But what was it for you that was the big break that just put it, was it the record deal? What was it?
I think, it's always, like you said, it's always small little moments.
Right.
It's like long periods in the wilderness, completely lost. You always think success is just around the corner, and they keep moving the corner. Further and further, and it's like that never-ending thing. And then I forgot when it was. Maybe I was about 21. I went in this talent quest in Australia called Star Maker, and I won it. And
wow,
the prize was you got to record a single for EMI Records, and so that meant I got to cut 2 sides, 2 songs. And I got a publishing deal at the same time, and I signed with a company they were MCA in Australia, so they were affiliated with American MCA. And I only signed with them because they said they could send me to Nashville. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to get to Nashville. So that was a pivotal moment of getting a way to get to Nashville finally.
But do you consider yourself more of a country artist, a pop artist? I know you don't consider yourself a rock and roll, but you definitely have a flair, even in your concert of right, Mario?
Yeah, especially the guitar playing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't deny that Keith is one of the best guitar players in the world, I think. He can match up with anybody else.
I've always loved playing.
For sure, especially when he gets lost in his lead playing, right, and taking it over, as I said before. That's what I see. And what really impressed me, what brought me to music, I have seen you in Las Vegas years ago, about 10 years ago or so. And you went out into the audience with your guitar, and you did it this time again. And you signed your guitar and you handed it to somebody over. Yeah. And that was for me, I've dealt with a lot of rock stars in my life. I've tattooed everybody. And I've never seen this once where somebody actually signs a played guitar right now in front of them to hand it over. That's a really special
I gotta
thing.
Get
What
one of those
shows how you
for
connect to the audience. And that actually made it for me to go into music,
Oh, that's good.
Really?
Thank you.
Yeah. That inspired you?
Yeah. Because I was like, I want to give somebody a guitar. But I started with the book. Finally, I got rid of one. So
maybe you could go out at your tattoo shop and pass out books, Mario.
Yeah. No, they didn't want it. They all want tattoos, and I want to give them away.
See,
that's the problem.
Thing if you walked out in the audience, just gave a free tattoo, just inking somebody.
Jesus Christ, tell me
there
about
you go.
that.
That's it. You got to give away what's yours.
But what do you think you are if in those three different categories? Would you say it's a combination of those? So
I grew up playing country. My dad particularly loved country music, American country music. Mm-hmm. So all the records that we had in the house were Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Charlie Pride, Dolly Parton, it's Glenn Campbell. It's all country music, American country. But I also loved the radio, top 40 radio. And so when you start playing clubs and playing in a cover band, you just playing whatever the hits are. Just you playing top 40. So I'm already growing up in two worlds of country and pop radio, basically, but playing in sweaty, grimy rock and roll clubs.
Right.
So you put those three things together, and that's
Keith Urban.
With what I do. Yeah.
There you go.
And I tell you, one of the breakthrough moments for me was in 1988. I love John Mellencamp, a huge John Mellencamp fan, and he did a record called Lonesome Jubilee. And, prior to that, he'd had Hurt So Good, and it was straight, more rock, more straight rock. And then through Scarecrow, he brings in some fiddles and a few little organic things. Then he does Lonesome Jubilee, and he's got accordion, fiddle, acoustic guitars, but he's got this rock rhythm section still. And it was the collision of all these things that, prior to going to that concert that night, I was like, man, what am I? Am I country? Am I rock? That question. I don't know what I am. Yeah, you ask yourself that. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I went to that concert. He walks out on stage. The band was phenomenal. And I saw and heard all of that fusion. And it was literally like a light went off. I went, I get it. Don't think about genre or anything. Just
be you.
Pull all the things you love. Your soup, man, your gumbo, and make your gumbo. And just... These are my flavors. This is my gumbo.
Celebrate who you are.
Exactly.
Right. Don't be somebody else. Don't be something you're not. That's what I always tell people. Like how do you just celebrate? There's only one of you. Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
and you're constantly changing too. So yourself is different tomorrow.
100%.
In search of who yourself is constantly.
So Keith, if you weren't doing music, what would you do?
I'd be in jail, probably.
We could get you some prison tattoos. My friend Mario and Frank can back you up.
I'd be all badged.
Yeah, you got to have a friend like Frank. Frank is have you ever fought? Have you ever gotten into a fight?
No. I mean, man, playing in those pubs, I was really lucky that they never really wanted to go after the band, which was really fortuitous. I only ever got clocked once by the ex-boyfriend of my girlfriend at the time, who just was pissed off, whatever.
Jealous.
And he fractured my nose, and I went to the hospital, and that was it.
Too bad you didn't have Frank at that time.
I was going to ask you, because predominantly, I guess, you said, like when you think of country music, you think American country music and whatnot. And I noticed because in mixed martial arts world, one of my biggest influences is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? I'm an American. Sometimes when I've gotten over there, when I first started trying out, there was very much of a, like, this is our thing, hey dude, what are you doing taking over our stuff?
Right.
And being proficient at it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that kind of when you first came over? I mean, I don't know if there was ever a time when, you started speaking, I was like, hey, the country music guy, do you have a Kiwi accent? What the hell's that?
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
Yeah.
Was there ever pushback in that way?
Yeah, for sure. It just wasn't very visible because Nashville's a very friendly town. But I come from Australia where they're brutally honest. Like, when you're playing in a club and you do a few songs, whatever, you could ask someone afterwards, do you like that song? They go, no, that was a shit song. Did you write that? It was shit. Don't ever do that song again. It was terrible. That one, after it, that was better. Do more of that, less of that. Like, brutally honest. And that's how I grew up. And I respond really well to that. But you move to Nashville, and it's a much more southern, polite town where they don't want to hurt your feelings. So, what I'm saying is, like,
which still, it's good
I thought they liked what I was doing, but I realized years later behind my back, they were kind of like...
That's one thing I talk to my wife and I have this discussion all the time. Taking criticism.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing for people to take, to sit there and go, hey, man, you suck at this, you're good at this. And as an athlete, you take tons of criticism, and you have to listen to it and observe it and take it in and kind of have thick skin, but still be observant because you can't ignore it. Right. So I'm sure that probably you grew up in that industry of being, in a culture where criticism was open like that, probably has helped you with your music career. Because I got to imagine, someone sits there and goes, hey, you could tell them, hey man, you don't have to, sugarcoat it. Tell me what you think, and that way you can first start to improve upon it.
Yeah. So when I got to Nashville, and I'm like, why is no one signing us? What's happening? People will say they like us, but they like us.
I think I could tell you why, because people look at you, and you're a good-looking guy. People probably thought to themselves, oh, it's all like poser.
Right.
It's not legitimate.
Yeah.
They didn't realize your history of playing in really shitty clubs in Australia, right? And really building your chops and really developing and evolving as an artist, writing your own material, right?
Yeah. Well, and also my country foundation, which wasn't apparent visually.
Right, yeah, because you look like a rock and roller.
You wouldn't know anything about country. And it was when I started getting with the writing community, and you're doing guitar pulls, where you go to someone's house and they pass the guitar around, and slowly but surely everyone's like, oh shit, like tons about this genre. I'm like, yeah, that's what I grew up playing,
Yeah, but it probably was harder for you at first because of the visual appearance of the tattoos.
And the accent, just everything. I had everything going against me.
Everything going against you. But then it's a blessing because once you're successful, all that stuff works toward your favor because you don't look or sound or do what anybody else does.
It's crazy that you just used the word blessing, because there was a guy called Cliff Aldrich who used to be with Sony Records. Come and see me play at all these crappy clubs in Nashville. Every time we played, he'd come see me. And I came off stage one night, come down, drenched in sweat and shit. And he's there and he goes, man, it's great. And I go, Cliff, you're always here. How come you're here? And he goes, because I love you. And I go, how come we can't get signed? He goes, I'm the only one who loves you.
Really?
I'm like,
wow.
I said, what am I doing wrong? He goes, you're not doing anything wrong. He goes, you're just really unique. And it'll be your biggest curse until it becomes your greatest blessing.
That happened to me.
And for whatever reason, that thing went in so deep that night that I went, don't change who you are just to fit, because it won't work. You just got to be patient and hope the pendulum swings to what you're doing.
100%. That it's more difficult to be successful when you're not like everybody else. Yeah. And because record companies want to sign what's going on. They want the next whatever. Yeah. They don't want something that doesn't sound like. Is that your phone?
I'm going to get rid of that.
Is that
no? It just keeps buzzing.
Well, if it's your wife, you better get it, dude.
No. I would always take it.
You sure? You sure it's not your wife? We don't want to create any problems. Speaking of your wife,
you can keep it.
You can keep it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. No, it's just this buzzing.
No one's watching this. It's all right.
All right.
But speaking about your wife, like just really quickly, I mean, Nicole is an amazing talent. Just did this, during I guess COVID or whatever, they got her to do like a commercial for AMC, and it blew up, and like people are going crazy for this. Like, did you ever see that coming?
I mean, neither of us did. She did it because we love movies. She loves movies, and it was hard times for the theaters. So AMC asked her if she'd do an AMC commercial, and it was a no-brainer for her to be a part of that. Never in a million years expecting that to be this cultural thing.
It's crazy. It's incredible, like what transpired. Did you ever see that commercial?
I didn't. I don't.
You have to watch that commercial, AMC, because it resonates and it like touches you, because you realize, when the lights go down and you're actually in a movie theater, not in your bed or your couch watching a movie. There's a different type of experience. So it really captures the essence of what that is. And obviously with her kind of driving that commercial, I think it really connected to a lot of people, because also the lockdown, right? You were doing concerts.
Yeah.
Free concerts.
Yeah.
You killed my grandma.
What?
You're out in public. We're all locked down, and you're out there doing show. You killed my grandma.
No, he was doing it in his studio.
I'm screwing around, Chris.
Oh,
everyone's like, you killed my grandma.
Frank,
because you left the house.
Choke him out, Frank.
My grandma's been dead a while. You did not kill my grandma.
We did a drive-in concert though, which an idea that my wife had. We're sitting there one morning, and I said, "Man, I can't wait to play. Where can we play?" And she goes, "What about a drive-in?" I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, we could set the stage up at the base of the screen, and then everybody's in their cars, and you could just play a show. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Where did you do it at?
This place called the Starlight or something, just outside of Nashville.
Oh, right on.
40 minutes out of Nashville, there's a functioning drive-in out there. It's crazy.
She's the brains behind the operation.
But you did also great stuff from your studio, right?
And then we did a bunch there as well.
Because she was always dancing around with you.
She was my guitar tech, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
I did not
During
see that.
COVID, he was doing live from his home or from his studio, wherever it was.
yeah.
And then Nicole was dancing around and singing with him, and it was like a home show
That's
for
awesome.
everybody. I
So we
was
had-
like waiting for it. Like
Yeah.
I was doing crack.
Yeah, and he wasn't charging a penny. He was doing it just free.
Yep.
There are people that are out of jobs and stuff. So if you could do something to give back like you did, that is the most beautiful thing that you can do, because, people were really, profoundly affected.
Oh, yeah.
And so you gave them an escape.
Well, we're lucky we could pay our bills.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't able to pay their bills.
Well, I don't know
so
about
you
Mike,
just
but-
do what you can.
A lot of times when Criss and I are training stuff, like the first hour, usually us just talking about, married life, kids and whatnot. And especially for us, or for me, I don't really have that many other friends that have an idea what it's like to be on TV and the different, difficulties, or they come along with some of the, the good things. But having a married, like, because our dynamic is that, I'm known, but my wife is somewhat known because of me. But, same with Criss, he's known, and his wife somewhat, because of the music. But your wife could be arguably even more famous, just as famous as you are. Is it a little bit different as far as the relationship, the dynamics? Like, because usually you sort of argue and go, "Oh, I'm out. You don't understand what it's like." It's like, well, no, I exactly know what it feels like to be you or to be out. And
yeah,
so you have two famous
To be
couples. They got to
married
fight
to
each
a
other.
famous woman, like, what is that like? That's what you're asking.
Yeah, but also too because of the dynamic.
Because you understand each other's fame.
Right.
The truth is, I'm married to an extremely down-to-earth, chill, laid-back, regular girl who happens to be famous.
Right.
That's really
And
what
she would
it
say the
is.
same about you, I'm
That's
sure.
what it is. Hopefully not the girl bit, but yeah. but
Well, your
that's,
hair
that's
is
what
getting
it
a little
is,
long. Take it from me.
That's the difference, though. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about American Idol, because you replaced essentially Steven Tyler, right? So a rock guy, and then they get a dude that's country but looks like a rock guy. So it was a very smart decision. What was that experience like?
First season was challenging.
In what way? Like just learning
Everything.
you have to be critical and positive. And,
Yeah. It was, it was just a challenging season, and then it got easier after that. But I actually really liked it.
You did. You
I do,
enjoyed it.
I love being able to, give any kind of advice to someone and kind of do it in a way that's helpful, not destructive. I mean, because that show I went on that I said when I was 9, this judge just crucified the shit out of me.
At 9 years
At
old?
9. You know?
Wow, it's Australians. They're all criminals. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like, he was like telling me I sang terribly, and he said, he goes, I desperately encourage you to escape the mediocrity, get out of country music and get into some real music. That's where he started, and I'm 9.
Is it dude still alive?
No.
No, he's not?
So yeah.
Karma. Karma's a bitch.
No, Karma would have been good if he was alive to see all this insane success.
Yeah.
Because it would be great to call him up right now and be like, dude, what are you doing?
Was any of the criticism, because sometimes
see,
people
Frank,
can be
what
harsh.
you- exactly
and
what
the
you were
criticism is
saying.
right, but sometimes the criticisms can be off the wall. You're just being a dick.
To your
you know?
point, what you said earlier, it's about what criticism to like just let slide off your shoulders and like, whatever. He's an idiot. I don't agree with him.
Right.
That's okay. I'm not going to take it on. You know.
But what do you know at 9, right? I mean,
Well, because my brother and my dad were kind of like that. They weren't brutal, but they didn't hold punches.
Yeah.
So I'm used to it. You know, I'm already used to it. At 9, I'm used to it. And he said all these sort of things that were wrong. And then he goes, kindly learn to sing in tune because you're intrinsically a good musician. And then he gave me 4 out of 10 or something. I walked off the set and I said to my mom, what does intrinsically mean? She goes, well, it means you're sort of naturally a good musician. And I went, cool.
right.
And that was it. That's what I took away, the good bit. And I just discarded the rest.
But if he would have praised you and said you were the greatest ever, you maybe would have never made the improvement to bring you where
no,
you're at now.
and you see
And I
it
think
on
that's
Idol. You
really
see
the
all
key to it.
these people coming on that have just been lauded by their family and friends, and they're not that good. But you got to figure out a nice, gentle way to help them.
That's one thing about music and some of the other industries is that it's what's what I'm looking for, subjective perspective. People are telling you, in some of the other sports and stuff, it's like if you're not good, it kind of becomes apparent really quick.
Oh yeah,
a little more
Yes.
painfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you were young, you play guitar, you're singing. We're talking prior to Nicole. Like, what was it like to be Keith Urban with all of the women that probably just through themselves to you? Because he's a good-looking dude with the accent, plays guitar, sings. Like, it was probably pretty awesome to be you, right? And probably.
Every married guy out here is just cringing.
I want to understand.
That's why it came out of the table. That's why.
Let's get back to your story.
There's a lot of people that perform and play guitar, but they don't look in a way.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm not. Well, I'm not. I'm just comparing.
There's some people not that attractive.
I'm the twin.
No, like
I'm comparing.
He's
Musically
like
talented, visually
playing
very,
guitar at 18 years old. He's playing guitar for 9 years. He's getting into clubs. Right. He is not in a relationship probably at the time because he got punched in the nose. Right. So like, and now you're free. What's that? Did you used to date like a different woman every day, or did you have a girlfriend, or did you go through many different girlfriends?
I preferred to be in a relationship.
You did?
Yeah, it was always my preference.
How disappointing.
Yeah. It's true. But I wasn't very good at it, but that was my intent.
That's okay, Keith. We won't ask Criss about his previous before his girl here life. You're looking at him like, what's it like? Okay,
Yeah.
Criss Angel, whatever. What's it like?
I'm just curious.
What's it like?
I didn't play guitar and sing.
Okay, so I'm with whatever. And you did sing, by the way. Criss was actually a rock star. He was in a band. Did you ever see him?
I didn't know that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
okay. Let's not
You
talk
should
about
look
this.
for
Is
the
about
video.
him, not me.
No.
Oh no, you'll like this one.
Oh no,
Keith.
it's about you now.
Yeah, it is about him.
Yeah.
Listen to this. What's it like, Keith? So I'm out for. Criss took me out for
Look
my
at his
birthday.
body language, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's freaking out.
He took me out for my birthday.
You're not a magician. You shouldn't notice that.
He's out. Takes me out for my birthday a couple years ago with Chenille, his beautiful girlfriend, wife, and former ex-wife, but
Still ex-wife.
Gonna
now
be-
promise.
Yeah, no,
but going to
we
be
have a
my
promise
wife.
ring now.
That'd be confusing
be
to be a former
promised.
and that
ex-wife.
is her beautiful ass right there.
yeah,
Yes.
she's amazing.
Yes.
And him and Jonathan Davis, right?
Korn.
Yeah, of Korn was there. So we're all there, and we're talking, and I'm just talking to Jonathan and back and forth, and Chenille is sitting next to me, and so I start talking about, I don't know, some weird thing, and I go, Britney Spears or something. She kicks me under the table, like, shut up about Britney, because of Criss. And I'm like, okay, then I start, and also Pamela Anderson, she kicks me again. She keeps kicking me.
No, Tommy
Whatever.
Lee and Pamela.
Whatever.
No, I was
Anyway,
friends with Pamela.
Whatever you
nothing
say.
like that,
I'll have
no.
friends. And so she's kicking me every time under the table. Every time I go, I can't talk about any girl because
I was trying to be Keith Urban.
yeah, well, there you go. But anyway, but she's wonderful and Criss is great now.
So wondering how you're going to get out of that,
But I
Hammer.
couldn't get out of a story. It was interesting.
You're lucky you got those red velvet ropes.
Well, don't make me come back through these ropes.
But we're joking around so like that. But you had a very challenging time in your life as well. Like, if we can talk about it, because there's probably a lot of people watching this right now that are going through something similar, where they feel they're defeated, that they're alone, that they don't feel like they can succeed, so they turn to whether alcohol or drugs and stuff like that. Can we talk a little bit about
Sure.
that? Like, you went through a very difficult, challenging time, and you were able to pull yourself through it with help and never look back. So tell us, for people that are watching, like, what that was like and how you were able to conquer it.
Well, I've been sober 17 years.
Awesome.
And it took a long time to get to that place, my dad was alcoholic, and when I started drinking, I didn't drink like my dad, so I didn't see that I was alcoholic until many years later. But I got to Nashville and fell in with the wrong people, and it was difficult. Nashville was difficult. It's a really difficult town for a guy like me, and I couldn't just get in the car and drive home and recenter with my family. I lived on the other side of the world, so I was sort of just having to go through the challenge and struggle of getting accepted without being able to leave and remember who I was. So it was just difficult, and genetically disposed to all of the shit I was around, and that's where I went. That's where I found solace, and then it just sort of took hold.
What was your rock bottom, though? Like, what finally made you turn the corner?
I think just a series of them, probably. I went to rehab first in 1998, and then I went again in 2003, and then I went again in 2006.
It worked.
It took three rehabs over 8 years for me to go,
That's hard.
I might be alcoholic.
Yeah.
I feel alcohol is the worst one of all, the hardest one, because it's so socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sitting here, everybody goes, hey, have a drink. If you smoke weed or you do whatever else, like, well, I guess I guess nowadays, but like, people understand that, hey man, we're going to shoot some heroin. You want to try it with us? Like, but with alcohol, it's almost like it's forced upon you. Well, you sit at a table, we're all going to hang out, like, hey, we're going to have a drink. You have one. You're like, I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
I've been with people that sit there, I'm not drinking, and I'm training for a fight. You got to almost explain yourself to people why you don't want to. I always feel awkward when you hear someone go, hey man, I have an issue, whatever they say, I'm sober now. And it's like, oh shit, now everybody gets uncomfortable. It's like, fuck, man, I didn't mean to do that. But it seems like, again, because of the social acceptance of alcohol, it's much more difficult. You got to like circumvent those obstacles every day.
I think it's relative to everybody how they get to that place of choosing a different life, building a different life, which is what I did. But I almost never talk about it publicly because I want my audience to not think about that. I don't want them thinking about that when they come to my show. I want them, if they want to get fucked up, if they want to drink, smoke, do pills, whatever they want to do, I want them to do that and have a great time. If you come in and you don't need any of that to get high and get lost in the music, excellent. I just don't want anyone thinking about that because I don't have an opinion about it. I'm not against it. I'm just allergic to it.
So like basically the biggest inspiration you're trying to pass on is that each to their own, just enjoy your life, live the life you're going to live. That's why you keep that montage of not really maybe expressing your own difficulties because you don't want people to feel judged or being looked at.
Yes, I don't judge, and I'm there to just bring a great time for whatever state of mind you're in. That's it, Yeah.
But what would you say to that person that looks at your story and doesn't feel like they're able to get anywhere? Like, what would you say to them if they want, whether it's succeed and overcome, whether it's drugs or alcohol, or it's to succeed in their dream, whatever their dream is? Like, what would be the advice that you'd give to them?
It's so hard to give advice because it's always misquoted, misconstrued, put out of context, and before you know it, it sounds like I have an opinion about something. I don't have an opinion about it. I think everybody's on their own journey. The only thing I say is that whatever you're going through, someone on the planet's gone through it, more than likely. Mm-hmm. And reaching out and getting help for whatever it is that you're struggling with is key. You can't do it alone.
Right.
You just can't do it alone. We even say it, like all of us in the course of a week will get to that point in the day where I go, oh my God, I can't handle this. And you're like, did you hear the words you just said? I can't handle this. And it's like the universe goes, yay, you finally got it. No, you can't handle it. Right. But some other people can help you with that. You want to reach out?
Yeah, like if somebody says to me, I want to be a magician, my first response is don't.
Why is that?
Why? Because if you want to do magic as a hobby, as an enthusiast, to enjoy the art and learn it, like I'm doing MMA, that's one thing.
Right.
But if you want to do it and I want to make a living and I want to be the next, it's like, if I say no to you, if you really want it bad enough, if you want to be a great country artist, I can say no all day long, but you're going to have some burning desire in your DNA that is just, you can't help, you're addicted to trying to succeed in living your dream.
Yeah.
And so that person has a shot if the planets align and they have the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness with trying to accomplish their mission.
Where'd you get yours from, that tenacity?
God, I think I just was like that from a kid. I saw my dad busting his ass, getting up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, opening his coffee shop. I used to go there. My dad said, if you want to be good at anything, you got to learn every position. Be the dishwasher, be the hostess, be the grillman, be the boss. And he, he always said to me, if you want to be successful, hang out with people that are successful at doing what you want. If you hang out with shit, you'll start to smell like it. He said, be positive, be light, never give up, always work. Somebody's working hard, you have to work harder. Yeah. Always aim to achieving your goal and never give up. And it took me 18 years to become an overnight success. How long did it take you, would you say, to become that quote unquote overnight success?
That happened last Tuesday, so that's great. Years.
Yeah,
years
like
of
what would you say,
honing
a decade?
I did 10 years. I quit school at 15. I started
Really?
playing 5 nights I was in a cover band playing 5 nights a week.
At 15?
At 15, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
I
they
sucked
let
at
you do
school.
that in Australia?
Yeah,
Or you just
can
lied
leave
about your
school
age?
at 15. And
Oh, really?
my 15th birthday was in October. And I said to Mom, and the school year goes till November, and till December. And it was October, and I turned 15. I said, Mom, well, that's it. I'm not going to school today. She goes, well, at least finish out the year and get your junior certificate, because I was in the 10th grade, and you get some certificate. And I'm like, for what? What am I going to use this certificate for? I'm playing in a band on the weekends that plays without me during the week because I got to go to school. If I could play during the week, I'd be earning decent money and learning my craft.
So you were all in.
I was all in, and
All
they
in.
could see it. They could see it was obvious that I was going to. It wasn't that I was
and when
going to
you-
do this. I was doing it.
When they're hearing you on the radio, seeing your success, blooming, what was the reaction from your friends, from your family, people that you grew up with? Was it like,
I think because it was so slow.
it was that slow?
The success was so slow coming to Nashville. I mean, I moved to Nashville in '92, and I didn't really have any success until '99, 2000. So there was another 8 years, and I'd already done 10 in Australia. In
So
the clubs.
18 years.
18 years, yeah. There you go.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
There you go.
And then so now you get the success. Your first single that was huge.
No, my first single was okay, and then the second single did a bit better, and the third single went to number one.
And then when that happened, was that like a feeling of redemption and just like, did it like hit you, or did it like people coming up to you and asking you for autographs? Is it like, oh my God, this can go away? Or like, what was the feeling?
I'd sort of built a bit of a career in Australia and had a little bit of that, a little taste of people wanting to take a picture, get, autographs and stuff like that. And then you move to Nashville, and then you literally start right from the beginning again. No one knows or cares who you are. And you start from the ground up, and you're back in and in Australia, I had a 5-man road crew, and I was selling merch, and it was happening. I had a record out, and then you go to Nashville, and it's like back in the van, trailer, packing your gear, trucking across the country.
I believe,
no road crew,
I believe
nothing.
the first, was it but for the grace of God,
The what?
the song?
Which
For
one?
the grace of
Grace
God.
of God, yeah, first number one.
What was that based on? Because when you hear the lyrics, so you can hear the neighbors, they're arguing again.
Yeah.
Is that from a life experience?
So I wrote it with 2 girls from the Go-Go's, Charlotte Caffrey and Jane Whelan, who had come to Nashville in the mid-'90s, and someone said, you should write with them. So I got in a room with the 2 of them, and we came up with that song. And I recorded it and tried to pitch it to other people because I didn't think it suited me. And eventually I just recorded it. And
It's a great song.
Thank you.
It's an awesome song.
Thank you.
You write your music and the lyrics? I mean, you do both?
I do both.
What hits you first, though? Is it the words, or do you hear a melody like in the music?
Almost always music.
So the music
Yeah,
first?
99%
and then
of the
you lay
time.
a track over, or you lay
Yeah,
lyrics
like
over that?
the music's trying to say something.
Yeah.
It's usually where the story comes from. The music is actually telling a story.
But you've also done like quite a few duets with other people, other
Yeah.
performers that are unbelievable. I mean, do you have a favorite person you've done it? I mean, not nixing.
Well,
the
you're
other
gonna,
one.
pit him against.
You should write a book.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pit him against, but he's
slaughter him again.
no. But I mean, some of them they're fantastic. It's almost like you should be with that person. Sing, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
think of Carrie Underwood,
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Carrie, great singer.
unbelievable.
Nile Rodgers I was a huge fan of for many, many, many years. And I just sort of pursued him because I went, I think if we can just sit in a room and jam,
Yeah.
I think he'll dig what I do. It's that belief in yourself, right? That confidence. And I just sought him out. And eventually,
Producer Nile
we
Rodgers.
got, yeah.
Yeah,
so
I had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, and what a talented dude. He had
Amazing.
a really famous band. What was that band?
Chic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah,
right?
La Freak and all
Yeah,
that
La
songs.
Freak, yeah.
Oh, that was
La Freak,
him?
La
Good
Chic,
times,
that's him.
yeah.
Yeah, Nile Rodgers.
Then he produced
Yeah.
Madonna and David
SIR,
Bowie. And
yeah, he did
amazing.
a ton of stuff.
I think I know the answer already because your personality, I've gathered already, you're a pretty humble person. But do you think that also helped you stay? Like, because a lot of times when people make it to the top, that's their first go at it. That, someone makes it famous. It wasn't like they were famous already, and then they have a drop, and then drop off, and then you have to be humble again, and then come back up. And the second time around, they're like, okay, I'll realize what I'll do differently. You got to experience that in a way because you hit fame for Australia, when you come over to Tennessee, as you said, you're starting all over, holding the backpack again, taking your own gear, starting at the bottom of the rung all over again.
Yeah.
Did you think that helped keep you as far as, I mean, you seem to have social humility, you're a humble guy. Did that attribute to it, or was that just more your upbringing?
I think that's part of being Australian. I mean, most Aussies I know are pretty down to earth, because you won't last anywhere if you get any kind of attitude
You popped
in
quickly,
Australia. They'll be like, "What's this bullshit? What are you doing?" No, you dickhead. Stop being a dickhead. Just, knock it off. They just call you on your shit like that immediately. So I'm just used to it.
Yeah, so you're already wired that way.
Already wired that way. Yeah.
Were you like a fan of the Gold Coast?
Well, I
Australia?
played down there a lot.
Did you? Because that's
growing up,
I
of course,
spent some time there with Chenille because she grew up there.
Right, okay.
And yeah, exactly. And Brisbane, I was over there because Johnny was being treated there. And the
Right, yeah. Brisbane's my hometown.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Speaking of Nashville and icons, Dolly Parton. Like she has a new album.
Yeah,
obviously.
Rockstar.
She's somebody who is so beloved by everyone.
Yeah.
And she actually, you got her to introduce you in Nashville for the Songwriters Hall of Fame, was it?
Yeah.
And what was that? Like you wrote her a letter, like a handwritten letter?
Yeah.
Like tell me about that.
Well,
and why did she mean so much to you that you wanted her to do that?
I sang her songs when I was pre-puberty, right? So my voice hadn't broken yet, so I could sing in her key. All these really super high songs I would just sing. I loved her songwriting. I loved her songs, loved her melodies. And over the years, I just, was amazed that she just kept always finding a way to be relevant, innovative, and never lose who she is. She could do so many things, but you always knew it was Dolly. And I just think she's extraordinary. Extraordinary songwriter, singer, performer, business person,
even movie
entrepreneur,
star, right?
Actor, everything.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Right?
Just
Yeah,
amazing.
she's good movies, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, she has like another resurgence. Like this woman is just unbelievable with relevancy,
And
like
no controversy.
She's everybody
nice,
loves
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Everybody loves her.
Now, the rumor is she's covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
It's true,
No.
which is why
Yes.
you never see her sleeves.
Are you
Have you ever
serious?
seen
Small
her
tattoos.
arms? You ever seen her arm?
I haven't seen her arms, but I know she has small tattoos, and I know for what
Does she
reason
think
as
that
well.
that would? Do you think like a woman, or well, it didn't affect you, so guys know. But like, does she think it would hurt her image?
No idea.
You?
Don't know.
I would imagine it wouldn't. I think people.
Kind of cool that we don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's like we're talking
It keeps
about
the
it,
mystique
right?
on.
Yeah,
you know,
there's no mystique
But it would be
anymore.
interesting now with the Rockstar album, right? It's
Right.
like it would be say, hey, it was always a rock star.
Yes.
Right? It's like
Yeah,
she
yeah.
has the tattoos.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked before about whether you're more rock and roll or country, but you actually did a stint with Motley Crue.
No, I didn't.
You didn't do something with Motley Crue,
Nope.
and you didn't. My notes say that you headlined Milwaukee Summerfest, June 19, 2024, along with Motley Crue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would have been on a different stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, I would you go see a Motley Crue concert?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki Sixx came to see me play one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did he think you were intrinsically talented?
I don't know if you knew that word. He's great. I mean, that band's crazy, man. It's phenomenal. Their longevity and potency.
Isn't it
It's
crazy?
Amazing.
It's I always
Tommy's
say that,
sober now too.
Yeah, I always say that it's kind of weird because you become a nostalgic act. Like if like I came out in 2005 with Mind Freak on television. I did 100 and something episodes, and then I was like, I can't do this. I'm becoming a caricature of myself, and I had my live show. But you have like peaks and valleys. Look at the Eagles. Look at this. Look at just some artists that even Kiss, for that matter, which that's Paul Stanley's guitar right there. And they're dear friends of mine. Paul actually be at my my charity event December 18th at the House of Blues,
Nice
where we
plug.
raise a bunch of money. 100% of the proceeds goes to pediatric cancer.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get a guitar from you and sign it.
Of course.
And I can auction it off.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So what was I just saying?
Just longevity.
Oh, longevity,
Artists,
yeah. So like Kiss, they had their era where they actually went, overseas to do shows because it wasn't happening in the States. Now they're playing for 50, 60,000 people. They're doing 2 shows at Madison Square Garden that I'll be at December 1st and 2nd. So, you know, like Dolly Parton is just always been there. Like she's managed to like, even Willie Nelson for that matter, right?
Absolutely.
You know, like the whole weed thing and people would make jokes about it, but he always managed to like keep himself out there.
But I think it's the desire to perform. I think that's what it is. I think that's where it comes from. A lot of people quit, and you know, it is hard. Chris, you know how hard it is to stay relevant and do it.
I think everyone has a desire to stay relevant and compete. But like I've seen some. I mean, there's some. I'm not going to be a dick and name names, but there's a very famous female pop star that like. If she walked in the room right now, she looks like a freaking alien. But you know, her version of trying to stay relevant has been. So I think the desire to relevance is there, but like not everybody hits it out of the park. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, oh man, you know. So that's looking pretty rough.
I don't know. Yeah. It's well, that's because people try to hold on to their youth.
They get cringy,
and they don't want to accept that. You know what? Every year that you're on this earth is a blessing. You know, you're never going to experience life at that age ever again. So like, if you think about it that way, then you accept, you know what, I'm not going to look like I did 5 or 10 years ago, but I'm going to try to keep myself in shape, train, work out, eat right, do the right things.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem in life is stress, right? How do you manage your stress?
I also think most of us just want to look like how we feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not even about a youthful thing. It's like you normally don't feel your age inside. Mm-hmm. You feel much more sort of vibrant and younger than you literally are. And so you only want to sort of look how you feel. You just want those two to be a bit more in sync.
100%.
That's really it.
So the tattoos, you obviously have a love for ink, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna get fully sleeved, or you're gonna?
I don't know about fully sleeved, but I mean,
where is your inspiration? Like, do you see something you're like, I like that, or is it like because you have a style going on there, right, Mario? Like I have a style. Mine's more like polka trash. It's called.
It's called what?
Polka trash.
Really?
Yeah, or trash polka, whatever.
I thought it was called Americana. That was like the Americana.
And what would be the criteria of polka trash? Because it's like badging. It's almost like badging, right?
Yeah, so it reflects more like punk rock scene, right? Yeah. It's more like the dirty look of tattoos. It's how the old style looked, right? They didn't go for a theme or a beautiful, colorful sleeve. It was more blotchy and black and red because that was the only color what was available at that time. And most artists at that time didn't use more colors than that, right? Because it originated out of the English underground. So that's it. English underground.
Yeah, prison. You ever been to English underground?
Yeah, I've taken the English underground several times. So no, but it's like, so it comes from that punk rock scene, right? Like from that part, and that's that specific look. What goes in, and then there's of course the Japanese style, right, which is really oriental, ornamented, really colorful, really part, right. Then it's a fantasy style, which is mostly European, got really created by the Austrians, where I come from. Germans, Austrians, Switzerland were the leaders of that, right? The American style tattooing, which everybody knows, which are considered like the military tattoo, right? Like the eagle, the flag, the bulldog, USMC. And then Polynesia style, tribal style, right? Which had a huge flourishment in, I would say, approximately in the mid-90s. It was extremely popular, you know, because it was the first time the tattoo artist, it was the easier way to create and to be different, right? It was just symbolic. It was not a USMC because Europeans didn't identify with a Marine symbol, even though they got the bulldog tattooed. You know, not everybody wanted to have a Tasmanian devil way back in the day, right? So when the tribals came in, I think that's when the actual, and with the internet, the explosion of internet, the likeliness of all the Polynesian designs came out, right? And Hawaiian and all this Tahitian style, and that's where tattoo got discovered from James Cook way back in the day, right? Because the word tattoo comes out from the sound of the tapping, and it made the sound there was no name for it, no English name for it, so he named it Tau Tau.
Yeah.
And that's when he brought the
human Wikipedia.
great Omni back
That's
to
pretty
England, and he was he got showcased as the tattooed man from the Polynesian Islands, right? So it's a really incredible story when you look at it and how the styles have traveled from everybody, and most people don't even know what they're getting, right? Yeah. It's like where music comes from, and they bring it back to the music for a moment. Yeah. It's like everybody thinks rock and roll comes from the Rolling Stones, right? I mean, of course they are, but it's like there's deep roots somewhere else completely, which have been combined.
Oh, yeah.
And that's with the tattooing as well,
100%.
That is interesting.
Which brings me to a question. Are you getting more, and when, and where, and how, and why? And I'm not going to leave you here until I'm done with you.
We should have just brought we should have brought your system and did it live while we're shooting this and then you
ask him
you have it on your chest too, right? You have.
I have that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this thing.
And then on the shoulder, he has an eagle on their shoulder, which reflects his American.
That was my first one. Was an eagle.
Yeah.
Doesn't Nicole like? Hey, what about me? Why don't you?
She's all over me. Yeah, she's there. Nicole.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has it several times.
I'm just making sure you're representing.
Her Hawaiian name is Hokulani because she was born in Hawaii, so Hokulani's in there. There's an NK there. Yeah, she's kind of everywhere.
All right.
She's born in Hawaii, moved to Australia.
Yep.
And you're actually from New Zealand.
Born in New Zealand. Yeah.
And then moved to Australia.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
Nicole has no tattoos.
No,
she's promise ring.
Pristine,
perfect canvas, or perfect. She's perfect how she is.
Just that's her thing. So
that's awesome. Well, we don't want to take up a lot of your time. We know you're really busy. Are you going to F1 again? Are you doing a show tonight?
Yeah. So we play tonight and tomorrow night. We just play super early.
Right. What time are you playing?
6:30.
All right. And then
that's ridiculous.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's why I wouldn't.
That's early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to FU.
Yeah, but then you finish your residency at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
It used to be called the Zappos. Now it's called the.
That's right. Backed Theater.
The what?
Backed. Yeah.
That's what it is.
BAKKT.
Yeah, Backed Theater.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna go off. Will you come back maybe next year to do another residency?
Probably not next year, but I'm not sure. I definitely would come back.
Yeah. You had fun
because we started in at 19 over at Coliseum.
Oh,
and then took a break in 20, as you did. And when did you guys resume after all of that? You took a long break, right?
I think it was 18 months.
Right.
That
amazing.
we were. It was insane. And then it was a long break. And let's pray never again. So tomorrow night, are you going to be at F1?
Yeah, I'm going to see the qualifying rounds tonight.
Right.
It's the beauty of finishing early is I can go and do that. And then the same tomorrow night, too. Go see the race.
I'm going to go. I went to dinner. He reached out to me, Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren. So Chenille and I had dinner with him and his lovely wife. And so they invited us to go and experience it in a very unique way. So we're really excited about it. So hopefully we'll see each other. But I can't thank you enough. What a class act.
Easy.
And really appreciate you being such a stand-up guy. You've come to see my show, and I said, hey, would you do this? And you said, I'll be back in November, and you did it. And I'm really grateful that you did. And I think people are going to really enjoy this. Is there anything you want to add or say or?
Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was easy.
Yeah,
super easy.
Should we ask them hard questions now? We'll turn on the camera.
Really dive in now, yeah.
This was just a preview. We were just trialing everything.
But we thank you so much. And Keith Urban, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we do this show because we want to, not because we have to. This is something that we just do because we enjoy the people that we're able to bring in here. And hopefully you enjoy watching it. Please share Talking Junkies to your friends and enemies, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
God
Chris.
Bless.
God bless you too.
This is Criss Angel's Talking Junkies.